Well, I'm shooting a little video right now about checking a bee colony. There's a difference between a colony check and a full inspection. When we're checking a colony, we're just kind of going through a quick little checklist. I always look to make sure there's a queen that's laying. I always make sure that the colony is gentle, mild manner. You can see that this colony is pretty gentle. They're doing well. This is a queen that I love. I'm planning on grafting her daughters for new queens eventually. And so I just took these boxes off and looked in the colony. When I pulled this box off, I glanced at the bottom of this one, and we'll just tip this up. And you can often see what's going on in the colony by looking up into it. I learned this from watching Mike Palmer do a lot of his checks. He'll say, hey look, I got worker brood there and there and there and there and there, and here's like an example of a queen cup. They could make a queen cell out of that if the queen laid an egg in it, but you just look and see that there's no egg or larva in them. And then you know they're not quite ready to swarm yet. You can pull them out if you want. It's good to keep the burr comb a little clean, because when you pull the frames out, you're not smashing a bunch of bees against each other. And one thing when I got into this colony I noticed is that this super is pretty full of honey. So I'm going to add boxes to them. Before I put that back on, I'm just going to pull one or two frames and look for an egg laying pattern. I always take the frames and kind of push them over, make space, and I will check a couple into it here. I'll look at this one. I saw that this one had a brood pattern on it when I was looking underneath. So we'll pull this up. Pull it straight up so you don't smash any bees against each other. There's the brood. You have honey, you've got pollen, you got nectar, you got capped brood, and these are the drone brood down here. And then if you can see in here, you've got some larvae in different stages. Here you got a lot of pollen. Here's a pretty good looking pattern. You see there's a lot of white larvae in the middle, and then there's some eggs on the edge. So that's what I want to see. The queen is still laying well and rigorously. Here's an example of brood that's emerged. See, there's just a ring of capped brood left. The stuff in the middle is already hatched. Now if I look at it in the sun, I can see there's all kinds of new eggs and larvae inside. A great pattern. This queen's doing awesome. I'm going to put this back together, and I'm going to put some supers on, because they need more space to store honey on top. Push the frames together a little bit. I want to give them empty comb space right above their brood. And when I looked at the bottom of this, some drone brood. Oh, there is some worker brood here. So maybe I'll just go ahead and put the super on top. Here's another example of these queen cups that they form. And again, I don't see any larvae or eggs or anything in these. But if they were wanting to swarm, they'd start building queen cells off of these. And you can see them by tipping up the box and looking underneath. So I'm just going to go ahead and put 2 honey supers on the top of this. So they got a lot of place to store the new nectar they're bringing in. So I got 2 supers from my storage back there. They're medium-sized frames, and what I do for the honey stores in the top is I go down to 9 frames. That way they draw the frames out, and I use this little spacer tool to space these frames out evenly. So I just go like this and see, I've got these spaced. So there's 9 frames in this 10 frame box, spaced out evenly, so they'll draw the comb out thicker on the frames. That makes harvesting and extracting even easier. So kind of get the frame spaced that way. Put another box on. I'll use this little guide to space them out, spaced out well, and that's it. I've got 2 supers on this, so when they pull in the nectar, the flow really takes off, they got places to put honey. And that's my colony check. We saw the queen was doing great. We have lots of brood frames down in the bottom too. Pretty much full super, so this is expansion. And this will be honey eventually. Thanks for watching.